And good morning. Welcome to Korea Today, live from Seoul.
Westerly winds bring fine dust particles from China to the Korean peninsula, 3 times the average of an autumn day. Weather experts warn the airborne phenomenon will continue until next spring.
And speaking of China, a North Korean foreign ministry official is currently in Beijing. Is he there to talk about resuming the six-party talks? We have more coming up in the headlines.
And as the National Assembly mulls over shorter working hours, who stands to lose the most from the revision? Coming up on Unprint. And it was a rare gathering of the most prominent scientists ever to visit Korea at one time. I got to meet with some of them, including some Nobel Prize winners. That story coming up.
It's Korea's 4th largest city, but ranks at the top in terms of medical services. Daegu is becoming a new medical hub for foreign visitors with cutting-edge treatment and infrastructure. And if you're looking for a unique chance to browse through some eclectic items for a bargain price, visit some of the 50 flea markets with an added twist held across Seoul on Wednesday, October 30th, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
Good morning and welcome to Korea Today on a Wednesday morning. It looks like October is a popular month to get married.
Dun, 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 dun. That's right. According to statistics compiled from the year 2000 to 2012 by Statistics Korea, October is the most popular month, followed closely by November. And the month of May, which was traditionally thought of as the most popular month, actually came in at 3rd. And the reason for this increase in October and November weddings, well, couples that were ready to wed, they wanted to do this before the year passed and before the weather got cold. A lot of them cramming their weddings in October and November.
Another interesting trend was that there has been an increase in the number of older women and younger men couples. In fact, it takes up 15% of all marriages here in Korea. And experts say this is largely due to the growing power of women in society, not just socially, but financially as well, and the changing perception that women, too, can go for younger men.
That's right. A lot of things are changing here in Korea. And yeah, that's right. A lot of younger men are getting married to older women as well. All right.
We'll begin Korea Today on this Wednesday morning with a check of the day's headlines.
A senior North Korean official is in China, raising speculation that Pyongyang may be discussing ways to resume the long-stalled six-party nuclear disarmament talks. Now, North Korea's Vice Foreign Minister Kim Hyong-jun was greeted by Chinese officials on Tuesday. But given that China's chief nuclear envoy Woo Da-wei is on an official trip to Washington at the moment, others say Kim's visit could be dealing with Beijing's recent tightening of customs regulations against Pyongyang. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying told reporters Tuesday, meanwhile, that Wu discussed the nuclear issue on the Korean Peninsula with his Washington counterparts, including U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel Russell and Glenn Davies, U.S. Special Representative on North Korea policy. And it wasn't half bad as what the northeastern part of China went through last week, but thick haze blanketed Seoul and the metropolitan area on Tuesday. The daily concentration of fine particles was twice or even 3 times higher in some parts of the metropolitan area compared to an average day.
The concentration of fine particles between 81 and 120 micrograms per cubic meter is categorized as slightly bad. It's the 3rd degree on a 5-scale dust forecast. People with respiratory diseases as well as the elderly are advised to avoid staying outside for long hours.
Officials also advise people to wear masks and take public transportation instead of walking to help reduce exposure to the fine particles, but did say the concentration level will start to drop Wednesday morning. Around 20 South Korean lawmakers will visit the inter-Korean Kaesong Industrial Complex on this Wednesday. The group will be briefed on the factory zone's operation status and will be taken to the production sites and facilities of 4 resident companies for inspection. A South Korean Unification Ministry official said nothing is scheduled between North Korean officials and the visiting group at the moment, but they could strike up casual conversations as the lawmakers tour the complex. This is the first such visit by lawmakers under the Park Geun-hye administration. The last time South Korean legislators officially visited the joint business zone was in February 2012. And finishing up on some positive economic news, Korea's current account surplus remained in the black for the 20th consecutive month in September. The Bank of Korea says the nation's surplus of trade in goods and services stood at over $6.5 billion last month, up nearly $1 billion from August. With signs both exports and domestic spending will improve in the coming months, analysts are raising their projections for the Korean economy for this year and the next. And on the markets, foreign investors continued their buying spree for a record 43rd straight session, scooping up around $100 million in local shares. The benchmark Kospi edged up 0.18% to close above 2,050 on Tuesday.
And good morning, everyone. A mixed bag of front page stories on this Wednesday. Let's go ahead and kick off today's imprint with a look at the front page image over on 중앙일보. What you're seeing there is a shot of the Chinese city of Shenyang on Monday, and that is an electronic billboard that you see in the midst of the haze there, juxtaposed against a shot from Seoul's Namsan Tower Observatory at 5 p.m. yesterday. The image title reads, "Black Disaster Chinese Smog to Again Attack Peninsula Today." Now, cities in Korea yesterday saw their fine dust levels reach 2 to 3 times their usual level. The caption says Seoul reaching some 112 micrograms per cubic meter. And more of the same is anticipated today with the westerly winds that blew overnight. And while Korea's levels are still relatively low, it's worth repeating caution is recommended for the elderly and children, as well as those with respiratory problems. Now let's go ahead and scoot on over to our next daily, 동아일보. Its main headline reads, Samsung, Apple, Google change rules of global economy. At a time when most companies are struggling to stay afloat, 동아 says these big 3 IT companies, Samsung, Apple, and Google, are changing the face of global competition in their race to come up with the latest and greatest innovative products. The article says Apple, releasing its better-than-expected quarterly report, bounced back to the $10 billion operating profit margin, helped by the record-making sales of their iPhone 5S and its economical cousin, the 5C. Samsung Electronics also broke a third-quarter record in sales and operating profits, while Google in the second quarter strengthened its dominance in the OS market as Android gained some 10 percentage points in market share year-on-year, sitting comfortably at 79%. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang, the competitors, Nokia, BlackBerry, Motorola, are being pushed further back to the back of the line as consumers tend to have an aversion to purchasing electronics from companies that are not at the top of their game. And quickly, let's go ahead and take a look at the front page image. It shows some recently unearthed account books, which features double entry bookkeeping. And the 14 books experts believe are from the 19th century, making them the oldest not only in Korea, but also in the world, which had up to now only discovered such books from the 20th century. These books are believed to come from a merchant family in the Kaesong region, which is, of course, in present-day North Korea. And on 경향신문's front page, you see LA Dodgers pitcher Ryu Hyun-jin making his homecoming yesterday. Of course, more to come in sports with S.J. Lee on that. Meanwhile, its main headline above it addresses the ongoing issue of the alleged online smear campaign during last year's presidential elections. The headline reads, Korea Veterans Association also believed to have participated in presidential race Twitter intervention. And the article says the newspaper has confirmed that the taxpayer-supported organization used social networking services to publicize personnel-seeking notices from the Park Geun-hye election polling committee, as well as posting remarks slandering the opposing side. And we'll go ahead and wrap things up with a look at today's Business Daily. Korea Economic Daily's main headline reads, "Shorter working hours. Small companies shudder." You'll remember that there is a proposal going through the National Assembly that would revise the maximum allowable hours of work from the current 68 hours per week to 52 hours per week. This has sparked resistance from all business owners, but the newspaper concludes that those who will be most hit by the revision will be owners of small and medium-sized companies, the very companies that the current administration has vowed to help. Now, borrowing data from the Korea Labor Institute, the newspaper projects that some 83% of additional financial burden needed to maintain the current wage level would be shouldered by SMEs, as opposed to the 16.7% of the 2 trillion won pie going to conglomerates. An expert adds that conglomerates have been preparing themselves for this impending change, but small business owners, not so much. And with that, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Wednesday. Next up are your closing numbers from Tuesday's market action.
Seoul has started the day off chilly at 6 degrees Celsius this morning. Very cold. So
Single-digit overnight temperatures leading to warmer temperatures.
Bring a jacket with you on your way to work. Let's take a closer look at the weather conditions with our Lee Da-mi, who joins us from Icheon in Gyeonggi Province. Good morning to you.
Wearing gloves.
Hi everyone. Today I'm reporting live from Icheon, Gyeonggi Province. Yes, I am wearing gloves because it is quite chilly this morning. Yesterday we saw some rain, but conditions have cleared out. We will be seeing clear skies throughout the day, as it is slightly hazy, but just like Hyungyang mentioned, the levels of fine dust will be dropping compared to yesterday. As for the temperatures, it is quite cold. It's 6 degrees Celsius for our lows for today. Later in the day, our highs will be leaping up quite a bit, so there will be a significant gap. Please be cautious in these weather conditions, as we are more likely to catch a cold. Make sure to dress accordingly and intake those vitamins, and also get some exercise if you can. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather around Korea. Seoul's highs will reach up to 15, Daejeon at 16, Gangneung at 17, Daegu, Gwangju, and Jeju at 18, while Busan will be the warmest once again at 21 degrees. Throughout the week, similar conditions like today are forecast for the time being. That's all I have for the weather. I'll be back in the latter half.
So this year's Nobel Prize winner in chemistry, Dr. Ariel Warshel, was recently in Korea for a special gathering called the Molecular Frontiers Symposium. So what exactly was that event all about? Our Kan Lee joins me now to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Dr. Warshel was part of this symposium, which gathered the world's leading scientists in one place so that they can share their perspectives and new studies to a mostly young audience or future scientists. Now, the symposium originally started in Sweden, and it was actually the first time it was held in Korea this past few days.
So it was a 2-day event, and it came to an end yesterday.
Right. Well, the Molecular Frontier Symposium was this past Monday and Tuesday, and it was 2 full days of lectures and discussions with the scientists. Now, the symposium was definitely a place of inspiration. Not only did the honored guests encourage further studies in science, but the general reoccurring theme surrounding the event was to have passion for the things you enjoy doing, whether it involves science or not.
It's the Great 12, or the so-called science superheroes, who gathered here in the nation's capital. From Nobel Prize winners, including this year's winner in chemistry, Ariel Warshel, to other leading scientists, the Molecular Frontiers Symposium 2013 brought together some of the world's best science minds under one roof on Monday and Tuesday. Hosted by Korea University, the symposium welcomed more than 1,000 attendees, which included about 700 of the brightest high school students from all around the nation.
I want to hear the lectures and think about how I can apply my future career into the advancement of humanity and the field of science in general.
Dressed in their respective school uniforms, the students, not surprisingly, all have an interest in science.
I'm going to study about chemistry in the future.
Trying to become an engineer in science. I'm trying to work on curing cancer, and I'm trying to think of many approaches on the road to solving that problem.
Whether it was a lecture on RNA, genetics, or biomaterials in tissue engineering, the scientists shared their studies and perspectives, all the while encouraging the youth to continue with the research in the coming years. The more challenging the lectures, the more challenging the questions were when it came to the Q&A session,
kinds of antibodies that target the exact place,
which attracted dozens of students to the mic.
Probably most impressive is the way they've been queuing up at the microphones to ask questions, and the quality of the questions have been extremely good.
Richard Roberts, a Nobel laureate, reinforced the importance of empowering young people.
Always with young people, they respond to opportunity. And the thing you have to do is to make sure that there are good opportunities for them to do the things they really want to do. And I think very often this is a question of giving them the freedom to do the things that they think is important.
Jenny Walden agrees. She may not have a Nobel Prize under her belt, but she's here for the sole purpose to inspire others.
I really like to inspire other people with positive things in life, but also to achieve their goals and to do what they love, because I was lucky enough to be able to do that.
Perhaps the most unique speaker at this year's symposium, Walden is a reality TV star and now a celebrity chef who recently won top honors on MasterChef Sweden.
If I could just ask all the students to remember one thing, that would be that never let go of your dreams and your passion, because that will make you thrive in what you do and make you become better. And maybe one day you can be the best.
Even if the event was for a short 2 days, the students already seemed inspired.
When I grow up, I want to be like one of them. Even if it would be very good if I get a Nobel Prize and just work as hard as them and walk the same path as them.
Shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon, and you'll land among the stars, right?
Yes, so a lot of bright students there. Like mentioned before, this year was the first time the symposium was held in Korea, but it's the second time it took place in Asia. Last year, the symposium was held in Singapore.
So was there a selection process for the students? I'm sure many more students wanted to join, and I was just really impressed by how smart they looked.
Yes, and they are actually very smart. Well, Korea University, which hosted the event, they asked dozens of high schools all around the nation to select the top students at their schools to attend the two-day event. And as you probably noticed, the students were all those interested in science, and they were also very fluent in English.
And the event comes in line with the government's push, of course, to encourage more students to be interested in the science field and pursue science, right?
You're absolutely right. Well, just last week, the Korea's Science Ministry did announce that it will work to boost scientific research and development in the coming years. By 2017, the ministry said it would invest about 400 billion more, or about $370 million more in science and research in the next 3 years. And it's definitely more than last year. So you can see that the government is trying to push more people to be interested in science and more development in that area.
I just wish I was that smart when I was in high school. All right, thank you, Connie, for your interesting story today. See you next week. And let's move on to see what will be up on Korea Today later. Peter Bin will be joining us to show us some flea markets across Seoul. There are a number of unique marketplaces, ranging from ones run by children to those for artists to show off their work. So if you are interested, stay tuned.
It's time for another installment on Korea's medical tourism, and today we're going to take you down to Daegu in North Gyeongsang Province, home to Korea's oldest medicinal herb market, the Yangnyeong Market. And Daegu is also where you can find Korea's answer to baldness.
That's right. So if you are losing that hair, if that hairline is receding, Daegu might be the place to go. In 2009, Daegu opened the Daegu High-Tech Medical Complex, attracting many different facilities, including medical research, and even governmental facilities, and is quickly becoming a very popular destination for medical tourism. Let's see what Daegu has to offer.
300 kilometers south of Seoul in North Gyeongsang Province lies the metropolitan city of Daegu. As Daegu is the region's leading medical tourism destination, we'll take a closer look at the city. Daegu is the fourth largest city in Korea. Last year, it saw over 200,000 foreign tourists and was the fourth most visited medical tourism destination. Its success is based on a century-long history of Daegu's medical industry and its rich cultural attractions. In the center of Daegu is the modern culture street. From the time when Western culture was first introduced to Korea, this well-preserved missionary Chamnes house showcases the 100-year history of modern medicine in Daegu. Daegu's first Western medicine hospital, Jeju-won, was founded in 1899. Soon, Daegu became the central medical spot for North Gyeongsang Province. This is the Dongsan Medical Center, established with Jeju-won as its foundation.
Hi, do you have an appointment today?
This is the only establishment in the region that honors foreign medical insurance benefits for Japanese and American tourists so they can receive the same assistance they would back home. The Dongsan Medical Center was designated as a U.S. military authorized foreigner hospital in 1967.
The Dongsan Medical Center's International Medical Center sees over 6,700 foreign patients each year. Many of them have cerebrovascular disease, heart disease, and other serious conditions.
The center treats foreign patients in over 10 medical departments for things as simple as a common cold to other serious illnesses. Based on these medical services in 2011, it was the only provincial hospital to make it into the top 10 medical facilities that attract foreign patients.
My husband cured his kidney disease at Dongsan Medical Center, so I really want to be treated here. Last year, I came to Daegu for a diagnosis, and this year, I'm starting treatment. I'm very touched by the medical staff and services at Dongsan Medical Center, so I'm glad I came here.
The Dongsan Medical Center has created various programs like specialized medical tourism for children and medical tourism gifts for the elderly. Every year, doctors from 10 different countries come to train and learn advanced medical techniques.
I'm proud to say that kidney transplants have been a specialty at Dongsan Medical Center for over 30 years and is one of the best in Korea. Our many foreign patients deeply trust our techniques and knowledge.
There's a special procedure that helped establish Daegu as a popular medical tourism destination. It's their world-renowned hair transplant procedure. Daegu is the premier destination not only in Korea but also across the world in this field of hair transplant. Hair transplantation is one of Daegu's key selling points, and the technique has received government support since 2011.
I heard this is a world-renowned medical facility, so I've been waiting for a consultation for 2 months. Even if I need to wait longer, if I need surgery, I want to have the procedure done in Daegu.
In 1992, Dr. Kim was the first to develop the follicle unit hair transplant procedure, which transplants the entire hair, including the root, into the scalp. 3 months after the procedure, the transplanted hair will fall out, but the root will still be alive, allowing new hair to grow in its place.
Even if hair loss continues, the front and back hairs will not fall out. Here, we specialize in transplanting the entire hair follicle, including the root.
Prior to this procedure, doctors were only able to transfer 500 hairs in an hour, and only half would survive. With Dr. Kim's procedure, doctors can not only transfer up to 1,500 hair follicles within 1 hour, over 90% survive, guaranteeing the most natural-looking results. A single procedure costs around $4,700, which is still only 80% the price of that in Seoul. The first experimental hair transplants from 21 years ago still grow on the legs of Dr. Kim and his students who also took part. This passion is what made possible the record of more than 1,000 medical tourists visiting the center last year. Fueling Daegu's growing popularity in the medical tourism industry is the persistent research conducted by many doctors.
There were many offers made promising me a specialized hospital, a research center, and more. But Daegu started to become a famous destination for medical tourism due to hair transplantation procedures. So I wanted to develop hair transplant procedures as Daegu's most profitable medical tourism procedure. I hope I can help make Daegu a world-famous medical tourism destination.
Daegu was once considered to have poor infrastructure for tourism, but now things have changed. The most visited place in Daegu is Dongseongno, considered Daegu's Myeongdong, Dongdaemun, Hongdae, and Apgujeongdong all in one.
I love Daegu, but I always get lost here because the buildings are very big for me.
I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot to see and do. We just went to a 4D movie, which was awesome. That's always a good time.
The fun of Dongseongno lies within the short and theme-based narrow alleys lined with shops of unique taste and color. Yashi Alley is the leading cultural area of Dongseongno. Yashi is a regional expression for fox, and it refers to an alley for women shopping. Next to it is a men's fashion shopping alley called 늑대 Alley or Wolf Alley. Dongseongno's commercial boom died down shortly after the Asian financial crisis, but the recent development of Tongshin Alley with large mobile phone vendors has brought the area back to life. Dongseongno also features a line of bars and pubs called the 2030 or 2030 Alley and a club alley lined with nightclubs and more. Daegu's medical tourism is continuously growing. Last January, the Daegu Fatima Hospital also opened an international medical center.
I came because I have back problems. This hospital has an exclusive emergency room and VIP rooms for foreigners as well, so my stay here has been very comfortable.
From exclusive emergency rooms, VIP hospital rooms for foreigners, and guest house accommodations for the patients' families, hospitals are now fully equipped and ready to attract foreign medical tourists. Prior to the opening of the International Medical Center in 2011, the Daegu Fatima Hospital invested in rapid arc or radiotherapy technology worth over $6.6 million. It was the fourth hospital to install the machine in Korea, attracting many cancer patients.
Although some might say this is away from Seoul, we have various medical departments and exceptional medical skills equal to hospitals in Seoul. Since we have fewer patients than large teaching hospitals in Seoul, we can take care of our patients at ease. So I am confident that hospitals in Daegu can offer great quality medical service to our patients.
With cutting-edge techniques and distinguished medical tourism programs, Daegu is establishing itself as a rising mecca for medical tourism.
The hair on that leg is creeping me out a little bit,
But the doctor looks so proud stroking that hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But can you imagine an average of an year and a half to 2 years of waiting list to get that hair transplant?
Right.
And apparently a lot of doctors from other parts of the world are also coming to Daegu to learn those techniques and technology.
Well, it sure beats a toupee or a headpiece any day, I guess, having your own hair installed in your scalp. But talking about tourism, the streets and alleys of Daegu also adds that touristic touch. Now, the missionary house that you saw, the missionary Chamness house you saw in the report, that's also been featured in several TV dramas, Korean TV dramas, and is becoming a popular destination as well. So tourists can go over there and sign up for a tour. You can check out the website that's showing right now. Tours are offered in English, Chinese, as well as Japanese.
All right. I'm really blown away by the hair transplant technology, by the way. Are we okay?
No, my hair is fine, but I could never grow a mustache. I always have that empty spot here.
We will find out if that's in the same department.
We'll see if he recently made a trip to Daegu. That'll be the easiest way.
All right, well, still ahead on Korea today. 'Tis the season of humidifiers. It seems like just a couple of months ago we did a story on dehumidifiers, but if you're worried about germs, we might have a solution for you. Angela Park will introduce you to some special humidifiers that will add some moisture to the dry air around you, but in a healthier way. So stay tuned.
It is 7:31 a.m. on Korea Today, and many people are looking for the bargain deal these days, right? The first choice might be the internet, but for those old-fashioned shoppers, then a swap meet or even a flea market might do. Peter Bint joins us today.
The cheaper the better, right?
Good morning.
Yes,
Good morning,
absolutely.
Peter.
So when you go to a flea market, you can see lots of unique, interesting objects. And when you decide to purchase one of them, you're not just buying the item, but also a part of its history as well. And surprisingly, in Seoul, there's over 50 flea markets every single weekend, from ones that are run by children to art markets run by artists as well. There are various types of flea market every single week. So why don't we take a closer look at Seoul's flea markets? It's a leisurely weekend in Seoul. From spring to autumn, there are various flea markets open all around the city. The Tukson Beautiful Flea Market is one for families to take part in and typically has a competition rate of 3-1 for vendors.
To do business.
Early in the morning, vendors are busy selecting a good spot to set up their operation. It's more crowded than usual because it's the last event of the season. It especially aims to get many children involved, so there are many kids' goods sold here, such as clothes, storybooks, and much more. Even though they're second-hand items, everything is clean and well taken care of, so mothers also enjoy buying goods here.
My mother made this hair tie. I only used it once when I was young, so I'm here to sell it.
Honey, you're still young.
This year's theme is children. And among various items, children are drawn to the toys and collector's cards of animation characters. These are very popular with children today.
We have many collector's cards at home. I brought these because children really seem to like these cards.
And you're not a child, I guess.
And children can learn to buy and sell products, save money, and understand the basics of how money is used at this flea market, which is why many parents enjoy coming here.
It makes total sense. It's a good way of educating the kids.
And compared to other flea markets, there's more enthusiasm in buying and selling. That's because part of the profits go towards a charity to help people in need. It's a small amount of money, but a priceless experience for the children.
Even better. Really.
Since I can participate with my child, I think it helps him learn about finance and economy.
When you walk along the walls of Gyeongbok Palace, you'll come across the Boan Inn, a symbolic space in Seoul. Here, a biannual flea market is held twice a year called the Samoa. Samoa is an acronym for all the amateurs in the world in Korean. The Boan Inn has been a resting place for over 60 years, but it was only in 2007 when it added cultural spaces to its features that it became an art space for amateur artists. And it's now being sought out by many visitors. The Samoa is an artistic slow market, attracting customers who are curious to see what all the amateurs in the world have slowly and carefully created.
Christophe was there last year and he showed me the place. It was really nice. He told me the story about that house. He can explain it to you. It's a very nice house.
The second floor of the inn displays handmade items and craftsmen who also share their skills.
It's a learning experience as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
This lady.
My hobby is to knit. A friend recommended I participate after taking a look at my work. I feel like I'm home working with family.
She came all the way from Japan.
She's incredibly dexterous, yes. Another attraction of the Boan Inn is in the backyard. Let's take a look.
Now we're talking.
And here there is a delicious feast with dishes made from hand-grown vegetables, from cherry tree charcoal smoked bacon and sirloin beef to organic wine and more. You can purchase these items here as well.
I live nearby. I always visit the Samoa marketplace, which takes place twice a year. I can try out great food and I love the people and its atmosphere.
Among various flea markets, the most traditional is the Sacho Saturday Culture Flea Market.
You weren't kidding when you said there are like 50 going on in Seoul.
All at the same time, too.
And clothes are the most popular items here. You can find the most diverse clothes at this flea market. And here, nothing is more than $5. It's also easy to find antique items to cherish a lifetime's worth of
Cameras are $5, huh?
Hard to believe. No.
And it's already become a hidden attraction in Seoul among foreign visitors.
Buy anything, it's good.
Yeah,
it's nice.
The flea market features something special, street performances in the middle of the market, which usually last an hour. So not only are flea markets good for your budget, they also offer up some culture.
It's some singing fun, right?
You can purchase items for very cheap and also enjoy a music concert.
The fun of flea markets is in its vendors and customers, with everyone trying to save a buck and share with each other. How about venturing out to your local flea market? Who knows what treasures you may find?
You know, I've been living in Seoul for what seems like forever and a day, but I did not know about these places. Talk about hidden gems. So give us more information on how you
so
can
many,
take part. Right.
But unfortunately, the Tukson Beautiful Flea Market and the Poan Inn Marketplace that we saw in our report, they've finished for this year, so you have to wait a little longer for those. But the Sacho Saturday Culture Flea Markets, they go all year round. And if you want to participate as a vendor, if you've got something to sell, Minjung, then you can go online and apply every single Monday, and they choose the vendors via a lottery system. For more info, there's a website, sacho.go.kr.
Okay, will you buy some of my stuff?
Of course. I will be looking very closely at the items that you have to present.
I think a skirt would suit you, yes.
So you said 50 and we saw 3. So what are some other flea markets that I can probably something suitable for me, perhaps?
Yeah, well, you seem like a fashionista, so
really?
I think
That's a first.
You got it all wrong.
The first Saturday evening of every month, there's a culture complex, a multicultural complex called the Platoon Kunsthalle, and it hosts Korea's first ever night flea market. And the Bling and Platoon Night Flea Market boasts a various range of products sold by many in the fashion industry, so it's a great chance to see the latest trends. And there's also the famous art market in Hongdae, the Hongdae Free Market, held on Saturday afternoons. So many creative artists, they sell their works for less than $10. So it's a really cheap way to get the latest fashion items.
I like the name, Bling and Platoon.
The real question is, I don't know how you dig this stuff up. Where do you dig this stuff up? I would like to know, but tell me later on, and I will take a visit to some of those areas. Swap meets, a great way to do some old-fashioned traditional shopping, get discounts, and have some fun. Thank you very much, Peter.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And a good Wednesday morning to you all as we kick things off with the 2013 Korean series between the Doosan Bears and the Samsung Lions. With the Samsung Lions in a do-or-die situation, Game 5 was a must-win situation. Lose and the Doosan Bears win it all, win, and you're going back home to Daegu. So with that said, let's take a look at the highlights from Game 5. Of course, starting pitchers for Game 5, No Kyung-eun for the Doosan Bears and Yoon Sung-hwan taking the mound for the Samsung Lions. When the first inning of the game with 2 men out, Choi Tae-in sends one to opposite field. This one is gone. A solo shot puts Samsung up 1-0. Next play, Park Sung-min an RBI single to right field, and it's 2-0 Samsung. But we're not done yet. This time it's Kim Tae-won, another RBI single to right, and Samsung takes an early 3-0 lead. Second inning, big man Choi Jun-suk at bat, and he drills his hanging curve, and there it goes, back, gone, a solo shot, cuts the deficit to 3-1. Next inning, this time it's Chae Young-woo, and he drills this one to deep left field, gone, another solo shot, puts Samsung up 4-1. Bottom of the inning, Choi Jun-suk once again, this time an RBI single to left field, and it's 4-2. Next batter, here come the Doosan Bears. Oh Jae-il sends one to deep left center field. It finds the gap, and it's a game-time 2-run double. And what do you know? We have a new ball game. Fifth inning, more from the Samsung Lions. This time, Park Sung-min with an RBI single to center field gives the Samsung Lions the lead once again. But Choi Jun-suk at bat once again, and this time he goes the opposite way. Gone, his second home run of the night, and it's tied 5-5. But now we're going to shift over to the 8th inning of the game. Men on second and third. Park Han-hee a clutch 2-run single to right field, and Samsung takes the lead once again, 7-5. Closer Oh Sung-hwan coming in to close the game in here, and he's absolutely lights out. Ball game over. Samsung takes Game 5 and sends the series to Daegu. And now staying in baseball, after enjoying his successful rookie season with the LA Dodgers, Yoo Hyun-jin came back to Korea on Tuesday. And now when asked about his rookie season, he gave himself a 99 and was pleased with his first season in the majors. And he also added that if Oh Sung-hwan, Yoon Sung-min, and Lee Dae-ho were to join the majors, they would actually have a better year than he would, as he hopes to see more Koreans join the majors as well. Now, Yoo Hyun-jin finished off his rookie season at 14-8 with an ERA of 3.00. All right, next up, let's take a look at Tuesday night's KBL action as the Changwon LG Sakers took on the Ulsan Mobis Phoebus. Going into the game here, first quarter of the game, a tight game as Moon Tae-jong helps LG take a 20-18 lead in the first quarter before going into the second half with a 43-34 lead. But second half comes along and it's a different story as Mobis starts rallying back outscore LG 23-17 in the third quarter before Rod Benson finishes the game with 29 points and 13 rebounds, including 15 points in the fourth quarter as Movis comes back to take this game 79-72. All right, finishing things off on the golf course, 16-year-old Lydia Ko, who's been dominating the LPGA events despite her amateur status, was granted tour membership by the commissioner Michael Wan. Now, despite the rule book stating that one must be 18 years of age in order to earn the tour membership, the Korean-born New Zealander petitioned to be granted the membership and got what she wanted. As an amateur, Go had to forego over $900,000 in prize money as she's set to make her professional debut during the CME Group title holders, set to take place from November 21st to the 24th. And that is going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Right, time now to check back in with our Dami. We sent her all the way to Icheon in Gyeonggi Province to take part in a rice cultural festival. What is this? So
well, rice is a very staple part of the Korean diet, and it is a very important part of farming as well. So Dami has information on how to harvest it, so we'll take a look at that.
Back to you, Dami.
I'm back reporting live from a town famous for its rice, Icheon, Gyeonggi Province. Now, Icheon is known to have a reputation for having the nation's best rice. So in order for people to be more aware of that, they're starting today until November 3rd for a total of 5 days. The 15th Icheon Rice Cultural Festival will be taking place. Now, here at the festival, there will be so many events, but opening up will be the Icheon Rice Traditional Parade. There's also the making of a 600-meter-long rainbow rice cake and more. Now, this year's Rice Cultural Festival is a bit more special as it was chosen as the best cultural festival of the year 2013. Now, the venue is quite large, but right now I'm at the Fairy Tale Yard, and this is where visitors can experience the traditional farming culture. Right now what we're looking at is a machine called the 족답식, which is a threshing machine, so that's exactly what I'm going to be trying this morning, okay? So nowadays we have machines for us to do this, but this is kind of all, hand work. I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. Ah! Oh my goodness, okay, wow. This machine has a lot of power. Okay, there we go. So this is how the process is done. And once this process is finished, they say that the polishing process is a bit different for the type of rice. So here we have some samples laid out. This is the rice that we just threshed off of the machine. And once the husk is removed, right here, this is the brown rice called hyunmi. Now, once the hyunmi is made, if you want to make white rice, which is baekmi, you completely polish off, including the bran. So this was just a lot of fun actually experiencing this morning. I was always handed a rice on a plate cooked so that I can eat it automatically. And this morning I learned that the whole process of making rice is a lot more difficult and it takes a lot of effort. So I am thankful for the rice that I eat every day, and especially for the dedication of the farmers as well. Why not enjoy and experience it yourself? Come on over to the 15th Icheon Rice Cultural Festival. I'm Idami, Korea Today.
And the autumn and winter months are the driest of the seasons, so sometimes you end up with getting dry skin as well as coughs and colds, more susceptible to colds. And Angela Park joins us with some appliances that's going to help keep your air moist. Good morning.
Good morning. Like Minjung mentioned earlier, I feel like we were just talking about dehumidifiers. Now we want to keep the humidity in the room as much as possible. They say that for indoor settings, about 40 to 60% is good, but obviously in the winter season, that's not exactly the easiest thing, right?
Yeah. Combined with a little bit of heating, the air gets really dry, so these items will help. But now we have two items over here,
Yes.
which is not exactly a humidifier. Tell us about this.
Well, the thing is, Young, I'm sure you remember that we had some scandals revolving around sterilizers for these humidifiers and how they could be kind of not so good for us, to say the least. And so today we have two products that don't need like a separate sterilizer, but yet it has the humidity effects for your room.
Okay, so what's the difference between a normal humidifier, which is this item over here?
Yes.
Just to show the difference, and what is this, an air moisturizer?
This is an air washer.
Air washer.
Right.
Okay.
And so before I even get into the nitty-gritty details, I want these two products to speak for themselves. Like you mentioned, this is the conventional humidifier, and you can see it takes the water in that's already in there, right, and turns it into vapor, so our viewers can see that the vapors are being emitted, whereas this, the Winix air washer system, you see here that air is obviously coming out. You can feel it as well, but visually looks different, right? Now, scientifically speaking, we have a video prepared for viewers that better explains it. So as we roll that, let me explain for you, Young, that the reason why we can see vapors in the conventional humidifier is because the water vapor particles are bigger. So thus, visually speaking, we see that right away. But for the air washer, the water vapor particles are smaller, and thus toxins and germs are not able to attach to these vapor particles. And it's basically impossible, but let's say that by some rare chance the germs are able to attach to the particles. It's too heavy, and thus the germs will fall off, and only the water vapor will be emitted out of our system.
Okay, humidifying at a molecular level. I like it. Okay, now let's stick to the simple stuff because the average consumer wants to know how they can take care of it and what they need to do.
Right.
Okay, so do you need sterilizing fluid? Do you need washing fluid?
Well, that's the point. You don't need washer fluid.
So you don't need that?
How it works, I'm going to jump into in the front over here, and you can see this blue thing from back there, Young. You see this, right? This is called the blue disc. Now, sterilization disc, I should say. It uses a clean cell disc technology, and if I take it out, these discs itself, this is what Winix was able to produce. This has a sterilization effect. So this itself, it's easy to clean because essentially it's a sterilizer on its own. All you have to do is wash it with water.
Okay, you're getting water all over our studio, by the way, but that's okay. All right. Now, how do you clean the reservoir? Because obviously there is a reservoir in here.
Yeah, right.
And water's going to be there. And if water does stand still at for a certain amount of time, there is a chance that fungus and molds may grow.
Exactly. Now, the point of this is that it's actually an automatic disc washing system. It's the first kind in Korea. So basically, you stick this brush in like this, right? And then you attach it. I can't seem to get this inside here, but if I do, slip it in here, you attach the brush into the thing, and as you push the drawer in, you basically push a cleaning function. And if you hold it down for 3 seconds, the disc will start to rotate as the brush cleans it.
Okay, just to show our viewers, there is a little latch over here
Right
that you can open up. And once you do open that up, it is supposed to pop up. But,
Right.
Okay,
It's the problem working with technology there. Now, but it sucks in air from the indoor room as well, right? And if it sucks in, then what about dust that gets trapped inside the system?
Exactly, there is an intake on here.
Well, it comes with a filter to capture the dust particles, and this as well, you just got to rinse it with water.
Okay, so easy maintenance. All you have to do is change the water, rinse the reservoir with water, and if the filter does ever get stuck with a lot of different dust particles, then you can just go ahead and wash that off as well. So this is great. I like this.
Yeah, you can humidify a space of 382 square feet, and it emits about 12 liters a day of water.
Whatever makes it simple, right? Okay, the final product that you have, it looks much like a regular humidifier. Tell us about this.
Now, this is from Hanil Electric, and it's different from an air washer. It is a humidifier, but it's a sterilizing one that doesn't require separate fluids. It doesn't require the discs that we saw earlier. It uses what's called, I'm about to get very scientific with you, Young, a hydroxyl radical producer.
Okay, so what exactly is a hydroxyl radical producer?
Well, hydroxyl radicals, first of all, it's produced through electrolysis, and it uses about one or more primary oxidants to work there. Now, what that basically means is that hydroxyl radicals, they can sterilize or prevent water contamination. But unlike chlorine or fluorine that we use, fluoride as well, that we use in our water to keep it clean, it stays in our body system. But this, it just converts back to regular water.
Okay, so basically, it's self-cleaning.
Yeah.
So it's a humidifier that's self-cleaning. I wish we could actually get our viewers to see this, but you can't. But you can actually see little fizzles happening inside the reservoir.
Yeah,
and that's
it gets
the cleaning
murky
effect.
in there, and that's exactly what the hydroxyl radicals are.
Okay, well, sounds great. This is might be the perfect item if you are in need of a bit of hydration or moisturization in your room or in your home. So from dehumidifiers to humidifiers and also air cleaners.
Yep, air
all right.
washers.
We have it all. All right, that's the items. If you need it, then check it out. Thank you very much, Angela.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, we're going to toss it right back over to you, Minjung. Are you interested in any of these items here?
Well, my nose has been a little bit itchy these days due to the dry air in the office, so I think I might go for the air washer there. Thank you, Young and Angela, for that story. All right, that just about does it for this edition of Korea Today. We thank you very much for watching, and please join us again, same time tomorrow.